celebration. And so we're gonna do some edutainment today. You will learn something during the course of the day. We also want to have fun. We out here, listen, you can't ask for better weather than what we got right now, right? 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 The rain is gone, it's not coming today. We got a nice little breeze coming through here. This is a great day to be here on 229 Beach City Road. So welcome to historic Mitchelville Freedom Park. Freedom is in the name, which makes a lot of sense that we'll be doing a Juneteenth festival today, right? Because Juneteenth is the official start of freedom for all people. Now, we can get into how freedom didn't really work for everybody for another 100 years or so, but for right now, we're going to talk about the notion on paper. We were all supposed to be free 1865, June the 19th. And so after that first celebration that Congressman talked about, you can imagine these celebrations started happening over and over again in various areas, starting in Texas, in Galveston, Texas, moving on to Louisiana and Oklahoma and Arkansas. And that kept that date there, that June 19th date there. And we're in the South. So eventually we like to mush words together. So June 19th became Juneteenth. And that's where we are right now, Juneteenth. It falls down a little bit. The Great Depression comes back up during the Civil Rights Movement and starts in places like Milwaukee and Minneapolis. I would never have thought that. And then moves on to California. Juneteenth is celebrated in 43 different states. We got to work on the other seven. We're going to get there. I won't even list them for you. You can look that up. But 43 different states, and it's a state holiday in Texas. It's important that we celebrate things like Juneteenth, because that's when we were all supposed to be free. So we're free today. We've got a mixed group here, great diverse crowd, and we are so glad to have you with us. We're going to go ahead and get ready for the rest of the program. I am pleased and honored to have our host for the day with us. Before we do that, one more time, I want to thank all of our staff for being here and all of our volunteers who will help make all of this stuff happen. Can we give the volunteers a hand real quick? There are literally 4 of us in the office. 2 of those are part-time people. But those volunteers help us do all the great things that you see happening out here today. So thank you so much for that. We want to make sure that you visit our archaeologists. We are searching for one of the historic churches on this site. So our team here, led by Katie Seaver and her advisor Matthew Singer, are from Binghamton University. They are digging right here. We think we have a 70% chance that there was a church right over there. And so they'll be here during the course of the summer to try to make that 95% or so. They're here to talk to you today. Make sure you visit them. Make sure you go to all the vendors. Young people, we have inflatables and games on that side over here. We have things that you can buy on this end and on that end. I hope you have your money. This is a non-profit organization. Thank you very much. So let's keep the things moving. I'd like to bring up to the stage here today Tina Taya Shaw and LaVon Stevens. Our host for the day, Tina Taya Shaw, has worked a series of radio and television jobs in Macon, Georgia, North Carolina, and Columbus, Georgia, before settling in Savannah in 1992. She started working for WSA-TV in April of that year as weekend news anchor, but within just 3 years had made it to the main anchor position on the nightly news at 6 and 11. She is celebrating 27 years at WSAV. She is well known to viewers as a champion of breast cancer survivors. Her popular Buddy Check 3 reminds women and men to do regular breast self-exams each month. She's a proud wife, mother, and Tennessee State University alum, go HBCU. Your other host for today is LaVon Stevens. LaVon is a longtime supporter of historic Mitchelville Freedom Park, including having served on the board as the immediate past vice chair. He has studied and presented the history of blues, jazz, and gospel music from a cultural perspective. LaVon is affiliated with BMI as a songwriter-publisher, a member of the Circle of Songs organization. He serves as a member of the Hilton Head Symphony Orchestra Board of Directors and is very active with the Junior Jazz Foundation. You can see him regularly at the world-renowned Jazz Corner Restaurant and Jazz Club. Let's get Tina Taya Shaw and LaVon Stevens up to the stage right now. And we're going to hand it over to Tina.
Wow, that's a nice welcome. I love all of you. Thank you so much for having me, everyone. It's a pleasure.
Be over when I see Jesus. Trouble will be over. Amen. Trouble over when I see Jesus. trouble will be over. Amen. No more dying. Amen. No more dying. Amen. Trouble will be over when I see Jesus. Trouble will be over. Amen. Trouble over when I see Jesus. Trouble will be over. Amen. Trouble over when I see Jesus. Trouble will be over. Amen. Trouble over when I see Jesus. Trouble will be over. Amen. Trouble over. Amen. All over. Amen. Trouble will be over when I see Jesus. Well, I'll be on my mind. Amen. Trouble over when I see Jesus. Oh, Lord. Trouble will be over. Amen. No more crying when I see Jesus. Trouble will be over. Amen. Trouble over when I see Jesus. Trouble will be over. Amen. Hello, everybody. Hello. And welcome to the Praise House. I love the history behind the Praise House. For you see, the Praise House was the first social setting on a plantation for the African. The first social setting. What that means is that the African could go to the Praise House without asking the European. In the Praise House, the African began to structure his future in America. There's wonderful results of the Praise House. Praise House was the foundation for the church, and there's still evidence of the Praise House today. Many of you go to the church midweek to have a prayer service or Bible study. Sometimes we still go to the church, to the preacher, to tell him all of we problems. In that Praise House, women would tell the preacher what their husband done did or he ain't done did. And they just thought that that preacher was going to make it better. Oh, Reverend Cox, I ain't seen me husband in about 3 or 4 days. But I see the horse down there by Sally Lou's house. I want to do something, but I just love the log from the top of my head. Oh, Jesus, down. Oh, Lord, to me body down to me feet. The wonderful thing about the Praise House for me is that it moved in an excellent, wonderful direction for the African in America. What did it do? Out of the Praise House, we built the church, the black church. What did that do? The black church went on to build universities all across these United States, because y'all know we couldn't go to their universities. So we built schools, universities. Then what did we do? We're talking about this Reconstruction thing. Lord have mercy. That Praise House moving into the black church went on down and caught up with Martin Luther King. And it directed us how to vote, when to vote. And during that period of them 60s, wonderful things was happening. We thought Reconstruction was over. No, it wasn't. Because Jim Crow was hard to get rid of. But that black church moved in mysterious and wonderful ways. I'm a little sad now, because most churches, I hope ain't no preacher here, but God knows I'm telling the truth. Most churches today run like Amway. Y'all know I'm telling the truth because you're laughing. It ain't about the future of your children. It ain't about the future of your neighborhood and how it looks. It ain't about checking up with your neighbor. I remember as a girl, my daddy was on the deacon board, and those men who worked in the steel mill that didn't take care of their families, them 12 deacons would meet him at the gate, take that money and take him to his wife. That's some bold stuff, ain't it? He might get shot these days. But that's what we're doing. We're in the praise house. And in the praise house, you're still singing the plantation melodies. Here's one. Call him by his name, call him by his name, call him by his name,
Call him by his name.
call him by his name,
Call him by his name.
call him by his name.
Call him by his name.
His name is Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Call him by his name. 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 Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Call him by his name. Now you know, I talked about the schools, because my mom could remember that. If my mom were living today, she died at 93. She would be 99. 99 years old. And she talked about growing up in the South. And after she finished her education, she moved to Middletown, Ohio, and married my daddy. That was a good thing. He was a good man, because he was from Alabama. But I watched my mom and some of the other Carolinians who gathered there in Ohio, I watched them quietly change things. Like when I was a girl and started out in school, I went to a school that was owned by Armco Steel, because it was the industry of the time, Armco Steel. But my mom and some others felt like we were not getting what we were supposed to get. She encouraged the church, and the whole church got behind her, and they went to Armco Steel and they said, hey, we pay taxes too. Let's integrate. Now this was before Dr. King even came out. That was the courage that they received when they was little cheering in that old praise house. Because my daddy told me that you can give a man your mind. He can take your life, but you give that man your mind. And the message of the praise house was, we gonna think on our own.
I'm a soldier
In the army of the Lord.
I'm a soldier
In the army.
Oh, I'm a soldier
In the army of the Lord.
I'm a soldier
In the army.
I have to cry sometimes
In the army of the Lord.
I have to cry sometimes
In the army.
Oh, I'm a soldier
In the army of the
Oh,
Lord.
I'm a soldier
In the army.
I have to sing sometimes
In the army of the
I
Lord.
have to sing sometimes
In the army.
Oh, I'm a soldier
In the army of the Lord.
Oh, I'm a soldier
In the army.
I have to pray sometimes
In the army of the Lord.
I have to pray sometimes
In the army.
Oh, I'm a soldier
In the army of the Lord.
Oh, I'm a soldier
In the army.
I have to moan sometimes
In the army of the Lord.
I have to moan sometimes
In the army. In the army of the Lord. In the army. Hilton Head is Buford. Now when them old ladies shout over in Buford, they keep their feet close together. It's a shuffle. Hey! Oh, if you just go about 21 miles north of us, there's Galveston, South Carolina. Now when they shout, they do this. Oh! But my grandma was from Charleston. Those old ladies still do it in Charleston. Go down. I got a bum knee, so y'all just imagine me going all the way down, okay? Hey, I'm almost there. So, hey, hey, hey. In the army of the Lord. In the army. Now, one of the things I need to clear up quickly is that the worst thing to Americans, black, white, listen ever, is the world of education. The world of education did a bum job for white folks as well as for the African. One, there has not been any piece of American history that the African was not there. Not one piece. And that's a bad thing because we walk around this world in total darkness, not even understanding why we don't like our neighbors, but simply because the educators did not teach us how special every American, how special we all were. Simple things like rice. Whenever the African got ready to, let me clarify something. I'm talking about Beaufort County, and I want you to understand that the African was not monolithic. So we have this thing that we believe that all Africans do the same thing. Now, I've been to Europe several times, and I know they don't do the same thing. They may look alike, but their language is different. Because of the region that they live in, they eat different foods. We came from Sierra Leone, Ghana, Gambia, just to mention a few. Coming in with many languages and many different ways to celebrate life. And all of that ended up in that praise house. Let me go back what I was saying. Rice became a major staple for South Carolina. It made the European very wealthy. I remember, thank God for my mom and daddy, I remember hearing people say that the African couldn't do nothing, the African didn't know nothing. But in Beaufort, South Carolina, the African was smart enough, creative, that he would take the leaves from oak trees, take the salt out of the water, and there they would plant rice. Oh, glory, hallelujah, somebody. And it made that European planter very wealthy that the state of South Carolina then was called Carolina Gold. That was the rice crop. For you see, 1,500 grains of rice are still grown in Africa today. Oh yeah. But you ask most people, you say, where did rice come from? You know what they're going to say? China. Only time you're going to get China rice is if you go to a Chinese restaurant. They eat rice. They prepare rice different from us. 2 quarts of water to 1 part rice. Hello, somebody. So that rice is nice and dry and flaky, good God Almighty. And when you done ate all the middle of the rice and you got that crust down there, them old folks would take some milk, put it in that pot, and you got rice pudding. in the evening time, I think that's when my grandmother was at her best, because you see, she was born on the heels of slavery, so she knew a little bit about a little bit. And she would sit down in her rocking chair, good God Almighty, and scrape that rice pan, put that sugar and that butter in there. And it wasn't until I might have been in my 20s that I'd go to a restaurant and I saw what they were saying was rice pudding. But I'm gonna tell you, you had to go to my grandma's house to get your real rice pudding. Oh yes you did. Oh yes you did. So all of those things are wrapped up in the praise house. That's why I love it so. It's our beginning. It gives us a solid foundation. Oh yes, it reminds us to stick together. It reminds us that tomorrow may not be like yesterday. We just gotta. Gladys, come on. Sweet heaven, heaven belongs to you. Heaven, heaven belongs to you. Heaven belongs to you. Oh, heaven belongs to you. Heaven belongs to you. Heaven belongs to you. Heaven belongs to you. Oh, heaven belongs to you. Heaven belongs to you. Heaven belongs to you. Heaven belongs to you. Oh, heaven belongs to you.
Don't you wanna go?
Heaven belongs to you.
Don't you wanna go?
Heaven belongs to you.
Don't you wanna go?
Heaven belongs to you. Oh, heaven belongs to you.
No more cry,
Heaven belongs to you.
no more die.
Heaven belongs to you. Heaven belongs to you. Oh, heaven belongs to you. Heaven belongs to you. Heaven belongs to you. Heaven belongs to you. Oh, heaven belongs to you.
I'll see my mother,
Heaven belongs to you.
I'll see my father,
Heaven belongs to you.
I'll see my brother.
Heaven belongs to you.
Sweet
Oh,
heaven,
heaven
sweet
belongs to
heaven.
you.
Don't you wanna go?
Heaven belongs to you.
Don't you wanna go?
Heaven belongs to you.
Don't you wanna go?
Heaven belongs to you.
So sweet, so sweet.
Belongs to you.
Shout hallelujah,
Heaven belongs to you.
shout hallelujah,
Heaven belongs to you.
shout hallelujah.
Heaven belongs to you.
So sweet, so sweet. No more dying,
Heaven belongs to you.
no more crying.
Heaven belongs to you.
Sweet heaven,
Heaven belongs to you.
so sweet, so sweet.
To you.
Shout hallelujah.
Heaven belongs
Come
to
on,
you.
shout hallelujah.
Heaven belongs to you.
Shout hallelujah.
Heaven belongs to you. Oh, heaven belongs to you. Any questions? Any questions? No questions? Yes, I do. Yes. My daddy was from Lafayette area. 17 miles south of Newton, Georgia. Yeah, I know Bama now. Oh, okay, you up in the mountains. There you go. That's where there you go. There you go. Okay, yeah, I know about Huntsville. Any other questions? Any questions? No, y'all don't want to talk to us. Ain't nobody got nothing to say. Yes, ma'am. Huh? We just sang. Here's what you got. One. You got a question? Say what? Make rice, butter, sugar, and milk. Now there's some other ingredients, but if you just want a quick one. Okay. I put okra in everything. Okra, gumbo means okra. Yes. Between Gullah and Geechee, well, after doing some studies, the difference is this. There's a tribe in Sierra Leone that was the Kissy tribe. And so a lot of Georgians was thinking, European Georgians was thinking that the African was saying Geechee, but he was saying Kissy. Now, you know, there's something about the tongue. I remember when I was a kid, until I started studying this thing called Gullah, and Gullah is the man, okay? I went to school with kids that couldn't say street. They said street. And my daddy couldn't say milk. He said milk. And he said strong for strong. But when I started doing my research, most of the consonants are European. And it makes so much sense. We trying to talk like them instead of them letting us talk like we. You understand? But when you go through the words vocabulary in America, you will find over 1,000 Gullah words, like boogie woogie, bogus, jumbo, libre for library. You gotta study who you are. You be able to shake this stuff out, and you won't be mad at nobody. You just know that they was ignorant too. You won't be mad at them because you're gonna feel so good about you. Ain't no reason for you to be mad at not nary one. Y'all got that? Okay. It's our time is over, and we're going back to the stage. Thank you so much.
Okay, everybody. We're right back at center stage now. Give another round of applause for Marlena Smalls and the Hallelujah Singers. So very powerful. Always enjoy her. Informational, educational, as well as entertaining, and giving you a little flavor of the culture. Marlena Smalls and the Hallelujah Singers.